Hello, creative friends. Today I'm going to look at the Caran D'Ache color pencils, and this is the Pablo line. These are water resistant. After much research, I decided to go with the Pablo line from Caran D'Ache because when other artists were using it and talked about them, they said that the lead was really soft and creamy. I've always used really cheap colored pencils. I didn't like how stiff they were and that it didn't deposit a lot of pigment. So I've heard wonderful things about the Pablo color pencils. So here we go. I love the packaging. You'll see as I'm taking this apart, there are so many little parts to it. And this outside cover part actually is your swatch chart. There's an area to cut it open. It even shows you a timeline of when certain products from Caran D'Ache were released. I love this color chart. I love the hexagon shapes. I just really appreciate how the packaging was really well thought out. So let's get into the colors. So when you open this up, there's a little bit more information about the brand. And then you also have some stickers. I don't know if I'm going to use these just yet, but it's just really nice to have. I like that the color chart is already labeled and it's in order, so I can just take one pencil at a time and just go with it. I can definitely already tell that the colors are very creamy. I don't have to apply that much pressure and so much pigment comes out. I am creating a slight gradient as I'm filling in these hexagons, but yeah, it's just so easy. Now, if you have used cheaper color pencils, you know what I'm talking about. That stiff feeling that you get, you know? These are just a dream. Now, some background into why I wanted to get these color pencils is that the last several months I've been painting with gouache and I have been loving it, yes. But I also wanted to, and I got into gouache because I was doing a 100-day project. And early on in that project, I was kind of experimenting with mixed media. And at that time, I was only using watercolor color pencils. And it's not a bad thing, but because they're not water resistant, I could only add them at the very end or use them for sketching purposes, and which I did. But part of me really wanted to be able to add details, maybe even at the beginning of the painting process, and not have the pencil lines disappear once I add water to them. So that made me, go down the rabbit hole of trying to find color pencils that would suit my needs. And so since then I have used these color pencils on some of my paintings of these really cute baby animals. All I did was outline some of them or add little fur details. It's just very minimal, but these pencils are doing exactly what I wanted it to do. I don't really see myself using these color pencils as other color pencil artists might use them for, which is for like coloring in actual artwork. For me, I want to use them more as detailing or accents or just adding shadows here and there, or maybe even adding texture, because drawing or coloring with these over watercolor paper will be really amazing because cold pressed paper has a slight surface texture to them, as you know. And so when you go over it with a pencil with, some light pressure, you'll be able to see that texture kind of show through. So that's how I intend to use these color pencils. I have another Caran D'Ache product, which is the Neo Color water-soluble wax pastels, and those are basically fancy watercolor crayons. So as I continue to explore mixed media and just be comfortable not feeling so restricted with one medium, I can see myself using the wax pastels, the color pencils, and gouache, and maybe watercolor, and maybe even ink. Like I could just see myself incorporating all those kinds of things into my work. Over the past couple years, I really have learned to let go of any restrictions. I used to, be kind of narrow-minded when it came to that. I felt like if you really want to master a medium, you have to stick to that one and only, like for all time. And I regret kind of thinking like that. You know, I feel like it kind of stifled my creativity, and I wonder if I could have stretched myself a little bit more, if I had allowed myself to experiment more, to play more. So this is that era of me, you know, playing around, having fun, and yeah, just really being happy with what I'm creating. Now I know that these Caran D'Ache color pencils are quite pricey. I only bought the 40 set because there were some colors in the 40 set that I didn't see in the 30 or the smaller sets. And those really have to do with some of these more nuanced colors. So that's why I sprung for these. I also used a gift card to help pay for some of it. But you don't have to get the whole 40 set. You could get the 30 or even the smaller sets, especially if you're just looking to add, you know, some details here and there. And especially if you're using it more for, you know, actual artwork like coloring in or blending, then you really don't need all of these colors because you can easily use the, you know, basic colors that are in the smaller sets and just use them to blend. I still stand by the less is more concept. I really do. But for me, since I was using them more for detailing purposes, I really needed like specific colors. So I am really happy with this set. I even love just the feeling of these pencils. The hexagonal shape of the pencils obviously matches the color chart, and it also helps that it doesn't roll away. But I keep all of my pencils in a jar anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But I just love all the gold detailing because I'm all about that. All right, here we are, just kind of ending our time here. And yeah, I am really just in love with all of these colors. I'm so happy with this. I hope you are looking forward to, yeah, more mixed media work from me. And if you're a fan of color pencils, please let me know what you think of this set. Or if you have your own set, please let me know. I'd love to maybe get my hands on a small set of that, or, you know, just try a couple colors. But if you're looking for something that's creamy, highly pigmented, and has a wide range of colors, and really feels comfortable in your hands, then this is the set for you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment with your favorite color from this chart. And if you're interested in watching some of my gouache videos, make sure to check out this one. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.